Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another replay analysis here. This is going to be a platinum game that I got off of Reddit. Someone asked me kind of to figure out how the hell do I deal with Zerg and Platinum. Well, we're going to be going through this replay, and one of the key things I'm going to be talking about here is the efficiency with add-ons in the early game. Obviously, whatever you have to do needs to have a purpose and a goal, but generally, the add-on efficiency here is so vital to the Terran early game that you're just gonna have to learn them. There's no way around add-on efficiency, to be honest. So we go for the barracks here into the gas. Very good build. Going for the scout here, I do like it, especially on the submarine because this is a low. This is kind of a small rush distance map. The other thing is that every single time you've got this spawn location with Terran, when your barracks is like this and your add-on is exposed, this is where Ravager all-ins will be much stronger. Were this Terran to actually spawn here and have the add-on safe here at the back, there's actually like at least 80% less chance of a Ravager all-in. Ravager all-ins are really good because you can pick off the depot and the add-on for free. That's what makes them so strong. So scouting from this side is good in my opinion, especially this early on. So he scouts, everything is normal. Okay, so he comes back with the SCV. I'm fine with this. Sometimes you can just leave the SCV here just to know when they expand. But I think at this level it doesn't really matter because your Reaper should be doing most of the scouting. And also with this such a short rest distance, a lot of times they don't even have time to take this third. You can just rally this directly here and you should be fine. Actually, he could have taken the third right there, but he didn't. I don't know what he was scouting. Oh, he was just scouting for bunker rush. But I mean, your hatchery would have seen the bunker rush. So. Nice, you get a drone. Very nice. Very cool. Let's look at this. This is going to be the first part here. So we're going to be making Marines out of this barracks. Sometimes I don't mind this build, but this is very specific to making 2 Marines, floating the barracks, and killing this Overlord. That's a very specific build, and I don't like it that much because it just makes your Hellions so much later just for an Overlord kill. It's not great in my opinion. What's awesome about the reactor, the Terran reactor, is that it's pretty much the same build time as the factory and the starport. So when you start your factory, you start your reactor, and they both pretty much finish at the same time, and then you can trade them, basically. So here we have a lot of Marines, and these are building slow. They don't have any purpose, really. The only other purpose they could have here is to stop an Overlord scout in. When I say stop an Overlord scout, I mean stop an Overlord, speed Overlord scout, which just, if you invested in Overlord speed, just let him see what you're doing, dude. It just doesn't matter. like, you need really, really good micro and awareness to do that. So here we have a tech lab happening. He's going to be going into tanks here, which doesn't accomplish much either because we have no idea if he's taking a third or not. The third is what's going to let us know if he's being aggressive. So instead what we should do here is that what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be researching technology for our bio army whilst not making bio, because bio scales into the late game, but it's really bad in the early game. For example, what would you like better, 4 Hellions against Zerglings or 8 Marines against Zerglings? So the answer is going to be 4 Hellions, 100%, because they have a splash damage, they have bonus versus light, and they can outrun the Zergling. Well, they can't really outrun the Zergling, but like they can match the Zergling in speed, so the trades are a lot more favorable. He gets caught here. This is lowered for some reason. Note, for all Terran players out there, please note this timing. 3 minutes 30. Zergling speed finishing. Thank you very much. Everyone should know this. It's very easy to remember. It's 3:30. 3:30 is also a very good timing because it's also the timing where weird shit's happening if he doesn't have a third by 3:30, which is why he's starting to be defensive. But I'm not going to credit him that reaction because he started this tech lab in a tank before he really knew what was going on in this game. So we've already seen this, right? He's making a reactor directly on your starport. There is going to be a guinea pig here in terms of the buildings for making the add-ons, because when you're making a building, you should be making the add-on for that building at the same time. When you have to make the whole building plus the entire add-on, it is such inefficiency, it's basically criminal, especially for these 1 Marines at a time, which doesn't really accomplish much. Apart from like maybe filling up your bunker, which isn't a reaction to anything really. So he goes for extra barracks, this is fine. But we're not even starting on stim yet. He's going to be going for something that is sinful. A huge sin. Hold on. Watch this. Again, making the add-on from the same building. I'm going to drop the entire formula here in a second. I just want to... This is the last sin that needs to be said. Okay? He's supply blocks. Whatever. This also, by the way, the wall here is so easy on submarine. It's literally depot, 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 depot. It's a straight line. It's so easy to do. Sin. This is the cardinal sin right now. Double liberators. Why? Double liberators is so bad in this situation for 2 reasons. One, the multitask required to efficiently use 2 liberators this early in the game is literally, I'm not even joking, TY level. This is a 6k plus micromanagement level because you have to micro 2 units that are very clunky, that needs perfect positioning and like awareness against queens to kill drones, all the while doing all the macro things that you need to do. This is a 6k plus easily method of starting the early game. Second sin that we have here, this is 300 gas. 300 gas? When you want to go into bio, you've got to start your shit early if you want to get there on time to scale into the mid game. So 300 gas is literally stim and double upgrades. Literally stim and double upgrades. So this is the last thing I'm going to point out. Now we're going to go back into the game, and I'm going to be going through the formula for all the add-on giving. So there's 2 things that Zerg can do early game. They have 2 units. 2 real units, really. They have the Zergling and the Roach. They do have the Baneling, but the Baneling is going to be countered through both of our methods. So they have the Zergling. What unit is most efficient against those and fights them the best early game? It's going to be the Hellions. As I said earlier, you'd much rather have 4 Hellions than 8 Marines versus a bunch of Speedlings. Because you've got the splash damage, AoE, so you're dealing more damage because you're hitting more things at the same time. But on top of that, they even have their plus damage against light attribute. So that's why they're so efficient. And the reason why they're so efficient, the reason why we want to use efficient units is because we want to invest more money into our mid and late game. So our bio upgrades, so our stim, our combat shields, our double upgrades, we want to be using efficient units early so that we can spend a lot more money into technology. The other option they have is a roach attack. This is where Hellions kind of come in here as a scouting method as well, to be able to see when they come in, but also we're going to be going into Banshees as well. Banshees and or a bunker as well. So a bunker is going to help us to deal with roaches in case he wants to do some sort of a roach rush, and the Banshee is going to help us kill all the roaches because the roaches cannot shoot up, and they're big clunky units. The Banshees aren't really good against Zerglings because there's so many of them. They're just not efficient that way. The Banshees are also good against Banelings because you can target fire them down. That's very nice as well against the Baneling bust. And you also have the Hellions, which is also a soft counter to the Baneling because they can outrun them and splash damage them. So the Hellion and the Banshees are a soft counter to the Banelings. The Banshees are a hard counter to Roaches and Ravagers. And the Hellions are a hard counter to the Zergling. This renders most of what the Zerg can do early game completely obsolete. This is why you have that extra money with those efficient hard counters to be able to invest in your bio for the mid game. Now we're going to go through the add-ons. After the Reaper, you're going to want to get one Marine, because the Marine here is going to help you defend potentially against a couple early Zerglings, right? You can have one Marine plus one Reaper, and you can pretty much deal with early weird Ling shenanigans. After that, you're going to be going into Reactor, and you're going to give that Reactor to the factory. Once that's done, you're going to make a tech lab with your barracks. And you're going to give that tech lab to the starport, which you start immediately after the factory. Okay. Second gas here, by the way, was perfect, by the way. After that, after giving the barracks' tech lab to the starport, you're going to make your own tech lab now on your barracks, and you're going to be able to start stim as well as some banshees. The banshees are actually so early too, they could have denied a third base and a fourth base as well as being defensive. And there's nothing that Zerg has to shoot up at all at this part of the game. Plus you have the Hellions that are very good against the Hellions. This is where you can go then into stim, double upgrades, double barracks if you wanted to. Because you have your efficient early game units that allows you to control everything Zerg does. And you can invest in your bio. So you can invest in your barracks, you can invest in your engineering base double upgrades, you can invest in your stim earlier as well, and you're going to be 100% fine. Then after that, after the 4 or 6 Hellions, you're going to lift off the factory. You're going to make a reactor on that factory. And that reactor you're going to give that to one of the 2 extra barracks that you do. The other barracks, or the third barracks, is going to be going on the reactor that was on the factory right before. So, yeah, if that makes any sense, right? So, the 2 reactors for the 2 new barracks are going to be already done. Once that's done, and you got your double reactor and your stim going with all your upgrades on that one barracks, actually should be here, you're going to be putting your factory on the starports as tech lab, and you're going to be going for a reactor directly on your new starport. The reason why the final one that we don't need to actually give any add-ons to, also because we can't, is the starport, because we're not going to be pushing anytime soon, and we're not going to be pushing until we have stim. That's the big thing. Until we have stim and a sufficient amount of Marines as well. We're going to be making 2 tanks, because with 2 tanks you can actually do really good against early amounts of banelings, because not only are they slow most of the time, but you can one-shot them with 2 tanks. Post that though, we're going to need to be going into Widow Mines. After 2 tanks, they should be lifted and put a reactor on for Widow Mines. You'd much rather have 2 Widow Mines than 1 tank. 100%, because the tank is going to not only not do enough damage in time, they're going to do way less damage than 2 Widow Mines. They cost more than 2 Widow Mines, and they have potential of killing your own shit as well. Right here. All the add-ons here are being put on the buildings directly. This is so much inefficiency right now. And this is all the gas that could have been gone into actual upgrades. This didn't do anything. Did they both do nothing? Yeah, they both did nothing. That was a waste of 300 minerals. I hope you don't go double liberator again. Quick placement here of missile turrets. This is an overreaction, obviously. The amount of missile turrets you should have is roughly every 5 mutas you should have a turret. At the base, the first one though, you can 7 mutas cannot kill a 1 repaired turret. Above that, it probably could. Just be careful with that. So, 5 to 7 mutas, 1 turret. 10 mutas, 2 turrets. 50 mutas, 3 turrets. And the turret placement here is wrong here, because you gotta be thinking, where are they coming from? Our goal here is to repel the mutalisks. So if they're coming in this way, they're gonna get repelled at this line. So these guys will never shoot. These 2 are useless. 200 minerals down the drain. This is fine here. I would put this a little bit more to the left because you're trying to protect the workers. You're not just putting this in the middle, right? If they're coming in through here, they can still attack this. Just put your turret here, and it's gonna cover all this. Same thing with here. This is actually perfect, right? If you twist the camera, which I think it can. Hold on. If you twist the camera, I'm trying to replicate this base a little bit, but if you twist the camera, the muters are gonna coming into here, and then they're gonna be repelled at this line here. There's no need to have a back line of turrets. I'm gonna go forward here. If he sees this, again, you're putting the turrets behind here. You should be creating a repelling wall here. They should come in here, they see the mineral line, and they should be repelled before the mineral line happens. You want to put the wall in front of the mineral lines, right? It's gonna be building even more turrets, I think, too. Yeah, more turrets here. See, this turret is actually pretty good because this turret is gonna try and chase them off earlier on. They're never going to get to these turrets. This is completely useless here. And especially with the number of mutas. How many mutas are there? There's 5 mutas. Literally 1 turret is fine. And you're investing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra. That's a command center right there. There's also a basically command center here as well. Because 5 plus, that's 4 more. So that's 2 command centers worth of useless turrets. This drop here is not good. For a simple reason, is because the mutas and everything is at home here. There's no reason to drop right now. Because he's going to kill you on land because he has banelings, and he's going to kill your medevacs with the mutas because that's the counter, right? So you're thinking you're doing damage, but you killed 3 workers, and you're going to be losing 20 supply here. 20 supply. Legit, it's better... You would have been more ahead not dropping than dropping. The only time where I would drop here is if you know that the mutas are here. If the mutas were just here, if the mutas were here and they're trying to pick off and trying to harass like your bases, I would 100% take a drop and send it to the opposite side of where the mutas are. But you can't just send in drops like that. They're gonna get cleaned up for free, and you were more behind now than before you tried to do that damage. This is where the other tanks come in, though. Tanks after the first 2 tanks do not scale because they're gonna not do enough damage to the banelings before they come in. They're gonna do not enough splash damage. They're gonna kill your own shit, and also they're literally more expensive than 2 widow mines, and do less damage than them. The answer here with the Liber is just kind of okay. The not enough Mutalists, but it's fine. And here we're going to see, if you're trying to clear creep, you're going to have to siege at least 2 tanks here at the back. Siege. You're already too far in. You're already too far in. Especially with an army that sieges, if you're on the edge of creep, you have to siege half of your sieging units. And then move forward. So when you're about to clear creep, siege half of your sieging units. So 2 liberators, 2 tanks, move forward, see what you can do. Cool. Siege the other half, de-siege the first half. Siege them forward. He raffle stomps you. You don't have time to siege these. None of this is siege. And you get raffle stomped. On top of that, tanks are shit here. They do tank pretty good. No pun intended, the banelings a little bit. But I mean, you want to kill the banelings, not tank them. And basically here. So obviously we're just gonna go through it real quick. We've got the add-on efficiency here that we need to get good. We want Hellion Banshee early game because we can pretty much deal with anything early that Zerg throws at us in terms of roaches and in terms of lings as well. And we want to be using our first barracks as guinea pigs for the starport and you know as the starport and the factory. But then we're going to be using that factory that we don't need anymore as a guinea pig for the second and third barracks, as well as starting our upgrades. And then after the first 2 tanks, we're going to take this off. We're going to make a reactor with it. It's fine to make a reactor there. So we're going to have an empty tech lab, which we can later fill in with another factory if we need to, for Thors if needed. Yeah. So we're just gonna adjust your composition, adjust how we approach creep as well. If you're on the edge of creep with your whole army and you want to start clearing, you want to start pushing, you're gonna have to siege half of your sieging units, move forward, siege half of the second one as soon as you're a little bit forward, de-siege the back ones, continue forward if you need to. But you can't just walk onto creep this deep. You're gonna get raffle stomped immediately. So that's pretty much it for the platinum analysis game. Hopefully you took a little bit of notes. It's all about the early game, dude. It really is. That actually become my motto. It's all about the early game.